those who haven't caught COVID yet, how have you managed to avoid it? I live in Gary, Indiana. Not even COVID wants to come here. What do you call a man from Gary, in who has a big dick? Hungarian. Gary Jerry Jurgic. That man has the largest penis I have ever seen. I actually don't even know if has COVID. Forgot to look. I was distracted by the largest penis I have ever seen. I'm always congested. COVID can't get in. I hardly ever get sick, but I have terrible allergies the rest of the time. I wonder if there's any truth to this, for the same reason we hear about the flu and COVID out competing each other. I'm almost 7 tall. I believe I am breathing from a different air supply than most other people. Anytime I see a COVID particle coming at me, I duck. If you can dodge a COVID, you can dodge a ball. I hate people and I don't like to be touched. Let's be friends. Actually, never mind. I once worked with a guy for 3 years and never learned his name. Best friend I ever had. We still never talk sometimes. Ron Swanson. I giggled. I constantly want a friend. Then, I don't. The cycle is real, my man. I got a brain tumor and I got isolated in a hospital about 1 year ago, and now I'm just trying to keep distance from people. Thank you all. I am very grateful for all the support and I am very thankful for everything and everyone. There were probably easier ways to avoid COVID than the route you chose, but I respect the dedication. On the rails though, hope you kick that tumor's ass. Believe it or not, more people have brain tumors than you would think. Most are negligible and have no effect. Kinda weird once you start reading up on it. Thank you for my newest irrational fear, mild terrifying. Here's a little something to get you started. About 1 in 10 people will develop a pituitary adenoma in their lifetime. Something I find very important to clarify is that tumor cancer, I have a pituitary adenoma, and I will joke about it on occasion. Sometimes I say it to someone who doesn't know about it and they do the "oh my god, he has brain cancer" stare, and I have to quickly correct the misconception. I also find it very fun if they're called benign tumors if they're non-cancerous. Mine gave me debilitating migraines and elevated one of my hormone levels to 20x normal, like it wasn't harmless at all. I was in constant pain and embarrassed. 247, but likey sure, go ahead and call it benign LMAO. It's extremely rare for an adenoma to be anything like less than 1 if I remember correctly. There are also different kinds. I haven't had it yet and I don't know how it's possible. All my colleagues, my whole family, and my friends have had it. Some people have super immunity to it. The wonders of genetic differences. I followed all the rules like a good little boy, but I had to do field work all throughout the pandemic and worked in close prox to others. Testing regular. I have no goddamned idea. My parents had it twice, everyone in my office already had it, etc. Only me and my girlfriend are almost 3 years clean. At this point I've started to think that he might have had a mild form, probably asymptomatic. It's very unlikely otherwise. That's what we believed as well. Never caught until 2 weeks ago. Kid came home ill from school with high fever, coughing heavily and half the class sick as well. After 2 days all at home had it but were recovering well. Until thin everybody around us got it multiple times. Family, friends, at work. So Walido, hope you're right. I just wanted to let you know that we shared the same thought process not long ago. We were always very careful, but since all the measures have been lifted it spreads more easily. You can get it multiple times too. I've heard of people having it 5 separate times. My fiance has gotten it twice. I got it a year before him. He stayed negative. He got it twice later and I didn't get it. We do use precautions though and stayed separated and quarantined. Me live in cave. Me never see people. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm just a caveman. I fell on some ice and later got thawed out by some of your scientists. Your world frightens and confuses me sometimes. The honking horns of your traffic make me want to get out of my BMW and run off into the hills or wherever. Sometimes when I get a message on my fax machine, I wonder did little demons get inside and type it. He don't know, my primitive mind can't grasp these concepts. But there is one thing I do know: when a man like my client slips and falls on a sidewalk in front of a public library, then he is entitled to no less than 2 million in compensatory damages and 2 million in punitive damages. Thank you. Edit the original SNL sketch. If anyone hasn't seen it, Unga Bunga Smash Puny Bug. I didn't avoid COVID, COVID avoided me. As goofy as that sounds, some people just aren't. as susceptible. In a household of 5, 3 of us got it, and my husband never did. Despite being around our youngest a lot and sleeping next to me while I was unwell and prior to my having taken a test, he didn't get it, and it wasn't for a lack of exposure to 2 confirmed cases. Likewise the middle kid, who even rode with me in the car in close proximity to get tested negative, despite having symptoms of something. Maybe it'll catch up with him at some point, but so far it seems like it did indeed avoid him. Edit to add that Hubs tested negative several times. Edit 2 we've always been as vaccinated and boosted as we can be, as soon as we've been able to do so. Imani our doctor who has been neck deep in COVID for over 2 years. We are talking face to face, staring directly down people's mouths during intubations, having them cough all over me with no mask because they refuse to wear one, or we're absolutely sure I don't have it, having all my co-workers and my Merrimet, while we were living together, get it, still clean, no symptoms, tested negative a number of times. I kept thinking during the real spikes that I was gonna get a phone call about the government wanting to take my blood to test for antibodies. Since you're a doctor, do you think because you might be getting microdosed, for lack of a better term, with COVID enough and over a long enough time that your body is like, I see you bitch, not today, Satan? It definitely crossed my mind, but all the other doctors I work with, and nurses, techs, etc., got it and we work together. So if that theory worked, it shouldn't be just me. It's funny because I work in similar departments and we find that very few of our staff have caught COVID while at work. The ones who have can be traced back to kids bringing it home from work, a girl's golfing weekend away, a husband on a Bucks weekend, etc. Smash that like button. It's your prerogative. My mother has tested positive twice but was never sick. If people don't feel sick and don't get tested, it doesn't mean they never caught COVID. Yeah, I think this is part of the answer. My brother only found out he had it because he had to fly back when he needed a negative test, so he got a test thinking it was a formality and he was positive. Even got a follow-up. Same deal. But 0 symptoms. Felt fine. Just no flying for him that week. As a person that hasn't had it, I wonder if I'm in the same boat or just lucky. Time will tell. I suspect I'm just immune to it at this point. I had every reason to catch it. I thought the same thing and then finally got it late last week for the first time. Seems like a lot of my friends who never had it before are finally jitsing it. For your sake, I hope you are really just immune because it super sucks. Thought I was finally getting better yesterday, and then it took me back down. I never had a positive test before. I was playing odds when I would talk about it and always say I'm sure I had it and was just asymptomatic. Well, Saturday night I had a runny nose, tested Sunday and I have COVID. Easy. I haven't left the house. Stay away from kids. Laughs in public. School teacher can cry with a mask on. Doesn't work very well. Seriously though, I still wear a mask in large groups, close groups. In my small classes where we can spread out I feel a bit safer. But one of the seconds was sick last week so I wore a mask. You'd think once the school nurse said a kid they were sick enough to go home she'd either keep them or have them wear a mask back to my classroom. Nope. One of my students was hospitalized with RSV. It was really serious. I got sick a week and a half ago and that really jolted me awake again. I do not want RSV or COVID. Normalize wearing a mask when you are unwell out of consideration for others. I'm so disappointed that wearing a mask while sick hasn't caught on. I leave my house maybe 3 or 4 times a week. It's easy when you're already an introvert, lol. Edit for context. Pre-COVID, I used to commute 5 days a week and go out on weekends. Look at Mr. Social over here. Getting out 3 or 4 times a week. I'm extremely asocial. Like literally a hermit. I went to a friend's engagement party in November and it was the first social event I had been to in 3 years. I was social distancing before it was cool. Edit there. I changed it to social. Now shut the fuck up. Same. Went to one concert 2 weeks ago. It was the first event I was at since 2015. Because I thought, well, you cannot hide forever. Caught COVID. The pandemic brought about so many incredible things for us, and to socials, curbside pickup was the most beautiful of all. And delivery people just loving stuff at your door and not interacting with you whatsoever. Fantastic. I'm immunocompromised, so I've had a litany of reasons why it would be a good reason to set up as many barriers to keep myself away from it. Considering I have already damaged lungs from a genetic lung condition, it would make things worse on me than it already is. That being said, I've done the following war-mask in heavily populated areas inside and outside. I already wear a mask in the hospital for checkups every 3 months for nearly 20 years now. I don't understand massive amount of bitching about having to wear one minus some uncomfortableness. Had a bottle of hand sanitizer on me for emergency hand washing, generally tried to give about 6 feet distance from people, stayed away from others who were sick as best I could, got the COVID boosters for vaccination at a time they were ready to be administered 2 years now, and minus a cold or allergies, no flu and no COVID. Thanks for watching.